is Matt Jones, who reports for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and he is the host of Whole Hog Radio podcast. We love the title so much. Matt, welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me.
So we would just like to point out that we are very appreciative that the University of Arkansas, unlike Tennessee, did not back out of their deal with BYU and are actually coming to Provo, of course, the return trip to Arkansas next year. So thanks to you and the Razorbacks for fulfilling your end of the agreement.
Well, I can't take any credit for that, but I know that they're looking forward to coming out there. You know, they had to have this game. BYU in the SEC, you've got this Power 5 mandate where you have to play a team either from the Power 5 or you have to play one of the independents like BYU, Notre Dame, someone of that ilk. And they had to have the game, and I know they're looking forward to coming out there.
It's going to be a fun one that we've looked forward to a long time. Of course, BYU returning this game next year in Week 3 in Fayetteville. Let's talk about one of the big storylines for Arkansas right out of the bat. Sounds like KJ Jefferson is back and going to play this week. What's the latest on him?
Yep, I think that's true. He's going to play. They have not confirmed if he was in concussion protocol last week. That's, the general feeling is that he was, and he hit his head late in the Alabama game, wasn't able to play. He was cleared, didn't practice the week of the Mississippi State game, and didn't play that day. All indications are that he's fine. He's going to play, and it's a different Arkansas offense whenever he's on the field, as you saw against Mississippi State last week. He just adds such an element from a dual threat element, I guess, if you will. They've got quarterbacks who can throw, they've got quarterbacks who can run, but they don't have another quarterback who's the all-around package that KJ Jefferson is. And so I think it's a big deal if he's able to play for Arkansas. You certainly feel a lot better about their chances if he's on the field than if he is not.
Matt Jones is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Let's dive into that KJ Jefferson angle a little bit more, because Arkansas, statistically speaking, has been so run heavy. So are the Razorbacks more keen on running the ball more with KJ Jefferson at quarterback compared to somebody else?
Yeah, I think they want to run the ball regardless of who the quarterback is. Sam Pittman is an old offensive line coach, and there's a great story about whenever Arkansas's AD and their search committee went to his home in Athens, Georgia, the night to interview him for the head coaching job. There were these cocktail napkins on the tables that said "Run the damn ball," and that's just who he is. He wants to establish the run, and so I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. They've got the SEC's leading rusher right now, a sophomore running back named Rocket Sanders, and he's really good, having a great season. They've got an offensive line that's experienced. They've got 4 starters back from last season, and the 5th player was one who rotated in with them. So I think it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is. They want to run the ball. I do think that they are a better running team with Jefferson because of his ability to run the zone read option, and so I think that having him in the game does make them a better running team.
Yeah, he's a big dude, obviously, 6'3", 243. That is unique. And BYU had a hard time stopping the run a little bit against Notre Dame. So it's an interesting matchup that way. On the defensive side of the ball, Drew Sanders really sticks out as one of the top sack leaders in the country, leading the SEC. And then Bumper Poole's one of the great names in the game. He's got a gajillion tackles, I think like 400 plus, right? Defensively, what's Arkansas going to bring to the table?
Well, they're beat up defensively right now, and it'll be interesting to see what Barry Odom's game plan is for this BYU game. When they played Mississippi State last week, they went with a game plan where they were going to drop 8 in coverage and rush 3, and they gave the Mississippi State quarterback, Will Rogers, all day to throw the ball, and just weren't able to get much pressure on him. And that was different than what we had seen from Arkansas the first 5 weeks. Going into the Mississippi State game, Arkansas led the country, or maybe they were second at this point. They led the country at one point in sacks. They've gotten 23 sacks this season. So they're a team that can really get after you, from a pass rush standpoint. It's just they've got so many injuries right now in the secondary that I think there is some apprehension to leave those guys on an island, so to speak, in man-to-man coverage. They've got a cornerback who I think is pretty good man-to-man named Dwight McGlothern. He transferred into Arkansas from LSU. He's got 3 interceptions this season. But elsewhere in the secondary, it's kind of just it's a tough point in the season right now for Arkansas. They lost Jalen Catalon, who was an All-America safety in their first game against Cincinnati. They've since lost another cornerback, Ladarius Bishop, who I don't know if he was a starter, but in the secondary, you've got to have a rotation of probably about 8, 9, 10 players, and he was certainly in that rotation. And then by halftime of the Mississippi State game last week, they were without their starting nickelback, Miles Slusher. They were without a couple of safeties, Kari Johnson, Jaden Johnson, who were injured in the first half of that game. And there's just not many teams in the country that can overcome losing 5 frontline defensive backs like that. And so I think that's where they are. We'll see how healthy they are on Saturday. But I think, the health of their secondary is really going to determine what they're able to do up front. If they're able to let Drew Sanders loose, he's going to be able to, get some pressure on the quarterback and probably make him uncomfortable. That just wasn't the option last week in Starkville.
Matt Jones is the host of the Whole Hog Radio podcast. He's on BYU Sports Nation. You've probably already alluded to it in some way, shape, or form with the answer to this next question, but let's just go on record here, Matt. In your opinion, what's the number one strength for Arkansas football at this point of the season, and the number one question mark if it's not the secondary you just brought up?
Well, I think the secondary's got to be the biggest question mark for this team. They're giving up way too many big plays, and for all the yards they've given up, I think they rank 124th or 127th out of the 131 teams in pass coverage this year. It could be a lot worse. Texas A&M dropped a long pass early in that game. Cincinnati had so many chances to hit deep passes over the top, and their quarterback just had an off day here in Fayetteville in that first game. And so that's the big weakness with this team, I think, is its secondary, its pass coverage. If there's a strength with the team, I would say it's probably the running game and Rocket Sanders and what he's able to do. He's been very consistent this year. I've been real impressed with him. Even against Alabama, he had a 100-yard rushing game, and in 4 of their 6 games this year, he's gone for at least 100 yards. They've got some other running backs who, I think they can rotate in there with him, who can have some success. They've got a running back who was their leading rusher last year, Dominic Johnson, who's coming back from a knee injury that he suffered in the Outback Bowl at the end of last season. And, we're still all kind of waiting to see when we're going to see the Dominic Johnson that we saw last year emerge this season. I don't know that he's quite 100%. He's obviously cleared to play. I don't know if he's quite 100% to what we saw last year. So I think the running game is a strength. And then, if I could say 1B of strength, if they are able to let their pass rushers get after the quarterback, if they're not concerned about what's going on in the secondary, I think that's been a big strength of this team this year too, is its ability to get after the quarterback.
And we'll see what Jaron Hall and that injured shoulder can do. You mentioned the pass defense, 18 passes of 30-plus allowed. That's second worst in FBS. So the run game of Arkansas versus perhaps the pass game of BYU. How are people feeling about Arkansas football right now? Because it was a strong start, nice win against Cincinnati, weird one with quality FCS team, Missouri State, of course, South Carolina. And then the last 3 games, of course, have been brutal with A&M, Bama, and Mississippi State. 3-3, but it still feels like this is a quality Arkansas team that, as you've chronicled, is pretty banged up. How are people feeling about the Razorbacks?
I think they feel pretty good about them. They're concerned about what the final record's going to be this season. But if you look at the overall trajectory of the program since Sam Pittman was hired, it's solid. They're going to have to recruit a little bit better. And I one of the reasons I think he was hired was because he was an expert recruiter. He was always an ace recruiter, regardless of where he was. Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina. Throughout his career, he's always been a guy that has been able to, build relationships real well in the recruiting trail. And I think that he learned a lot from his time at Georgia with Kirby Smart, just about how to, as he'll tell you, recruit with your hair on fire. It is all about recruiting. They set aside time every day to, make calls to recruits, to write letters to recruits. It's all about recruiting with this staff. And, but you have to think about where Arkansas came from. They were in a really bad spot whenever Sam Pittman was hired. They'd gone 2-10 and 0-8 in the SEC in 2 consecutive seasons. And, the 2 years that preceded those 2 seasons weren't very good either. And so they had the COVID year in there. There's a lot of, cards that have been stacked against Arkansas. And so for them to have even had a 9-4 season last year and be competitive with the type of teams they were competitive with, I think kind of tells you where the program is. They've had a couple of rough weeks here. I think a lot of people probably forget, though, that against Alabama, it was a 5-point game in the fourth quarter, and Arkansas kind of had Alabama on the ropes, and their backup quarterback made a 77-yard run and really changed that game. Arkansas never recovered. And then against Mississippi State last week, it's hard to really take a whole lot from that result, given the fact that Arkansas didn't have its starting quarterback, given the fact that they had so many people injured in the secondary. I think the game that they really feel like they let get away was Texas A&M. They should have beaten Texas A&M. They outplayed Texas A&M. So I think people still feel confident that this team can have a good season. One thing that people look back on is last year they were 4-3 after 7 games. They could be 4-3 after Saturday. They could be 3-4. But it's a similar situation as last year, same week in the season where they've got their bye week, and then similar to last year, they've got a lot more winnable games on the back end of the schedule than they do on the front. Everybody knew this was going to be a really grueling 7-week stretch for Arkansas, beginning with Cincinnati, ending with BYU, and with a bunch of SEC games in the middle. And they're kind of getting to that point where they can finally take their breath. And, we'll see. But I think people are happy with the overall trajectory of the program, even if the last few weeks haven't been what they wanted to see.
Matt, we'll finish with this. What's the perception from Arkansas country on BYU football as currently constituted?
Well, I can tell you what the perception is from Arkansas's coaching staff, and it's that BYU's a really solid team. 11 wins one year, 10 wins the other, off to a good start this season. And I think, a lot of the principles that BYU is built on, being a real tough, solid line of scrimmage type team is, Sam Pittman sees a lot of Arkansas in BYU. And so, it's not a team that people take lightly. It's not a team that people take for granted how big of a challenge it's going to be. Sam Pittman was talking in the preseason, hey, all of this talk is about Cincinnati, and rightfully so in the season opener, but we got a team that we have to play in week 7 that's had 21 wins in the last 2 years. And so I think they know what kind of challenge is there at BYU. You look at what BYU's done on its home field over the last 7 years and all the Power 5 teams that it's beaten. It's something that gets your attention, and it's going to be a tough game. And I think BYU has all the respect in the world from Arkansas's side.
The line is dead even, according to our friends in the desert. A true coin flip game. Matt, we appreciate the insider's advantage on Arkansas and the time you spent with us this morning.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Matt.